Do more by doing less. With me, Charles Alexander, for small business owners, startups, and busy folks. So, according to the Small Business Administration and basically every other stat I've ever read online, the success rate for a lot of entrepreneurs in their first 5-10 years is about 30%. So what that means in a pessimistic point of view is about 2/3 of every businesses don't succeed in their first several years. Now, for a fellow like me, and yes, I know I've said this before, but humor me, with 3 kids, all teenagers, all of them with an entrepreneurial spirit. The girls babysit, little buddy sells stuff. That means one thing. 2 of those little monsters are going to be living in my bonus room forever. I don't know which 2 it will be, but that's the state of where we are headed. Now, I have been coaching since 07 and plenty of training and small business experience before that. So I've kind of got it narrowed down to 3 things that I see become issues, not just for startups, they're for everybody. It just happens to begin when you start and then you carry it with you forever. And this doesn't apply only to entrepreneurs, busy professional, nonprofit leaders. It's a lack of experience or continuing to not gain the experience you need. Second of, I know it sounds silly, but is a lack of confidence, which usually is related to the experience. And lastly is the simple one of just not planning anything. Every day is just helter-skelter with all of the checklists humanly possible. So first one, the lack of experience. Growing a business requires a certain level of things you need to continue learning over the years. Out of the gate, it's obvious you're not going to know much about bookkeeping or marketing. And in some cases, you might still need to learn what the industry trends are. But you've been doing this 5 or 10 years, and you're still making the same mistakes, running into the same issues. I always equate running a business to kind of like parenting. So before me and Sarah had our first girl, 17 years ago now, and we read every book, every blog. It wasn't really podcasts back then. We watched YouTube videos, listened to people, but if you have kids, all of that kind of goes out the window as soon as you put a baby in your arms. Some of it's still applicable, obviously, but then you have to rely on your experience. Now that we got, kids are 17, 14, 13, those books, blogs, and everything, they're still helpful, but I have to rely on a lot of the experience of what has worked, what has not worked for each of our kids individually over the years. So what I run into here is, especially if somebody's launching a new product or a new service, they kind of skip whatever's got them to that point, or they haven't learned from their previous experiences before applying it to this one. Or even if you're a startup, every spring I get tons of calls from dudes that are my age that suddenly want to be landscapers because they're stuck in a meeting somewhere staring out the window being told they didn't put the cover on the TPS reports, and they've had it. Yet they know nothing about landscaping or a big trend I'm seeing, women especially, is I'm going to go into the health and wellness. Great. That's a wonderful industry. Everybody else seems to be headed there too. Gain the experience you need, because if you don't continue to learn things, you're going to end up with number 2, which is a lack of confidence, and that can hinder you in all areas of life. Talking a minute ago about creating a new product or a new service, that gets you overwhelmed, and then you start thinking about, well, I got to create the website copy and design the landing page, and maybe I'll do some webinars and implement email marketing, and I'll create videos. And then pretty soon imposter syndrome kicks in, and you convince yourself that you don't have the time, expertise, or, the confidence to do any of it. In that case, I'm not a confidence coach. I will tell you what has always worked for me is writing down all of the things that I know how to do. Not because I'm going to replicate them in whatever the new venture is that I need confidence for, but to show that I'm a capable human being. I'm talking about all the way down to the bare minimum. I've launched a business. It's become successful. I had several aspects of it. I have coached this long. I have Worked with over 2,000 entrepreneurs, helped 280 launch businesses, helped people get to 60 million in capital formation. But that's me. You have your own little bits of that. And if yours doesn't look like that, I mean, golly. Well, you probably graduated high school. Most of you went to college. You have some successful relationships, a spouse. Maybe you have kids and they're functional adults. All of those things are difficult. Lord, you learned how to ride a bike when you were 7. Do you know how hard that is for a 7-year-old who doesn't have any coordination and the brain is made out of spaghetti to get on a 2-wheeled thing and go? If you can do that, create the confidence you need to go into the next thing. I can promise you, you're scrolling social media and seeing that everybody else has it all figured out. They don't. I've met all of them behind the scenes. They're a mess. Lastly, a lack of planning. And I don't mean... Gosh, the opposite end of that is to overplan everything humanly possible. I mean, a lack of planning at all can be detrimental. For example, my wife meticulously plans our family vacations well in advance. Even for a simple trip 2 years ago to San Antonio, she prepared a color-coded spreadsheet with multiple tabs detailing our itinerary, what the kids would wear, where we would eat. She invests more time and effort into planning a vacation than many people do for their small business, for their professional lives. Spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the beginning of each week. Relay it back to whatever your ultimate goal is and create a plan for that week. It doesn't have to be a 5-year strategic plan. Those go in the trash pretty quickly. So, lack of experience, lack of confidence, and a lack of planning. So looking at it from a pessimistic perspective, that failure rate, 2/3 of small business owners. But that also means 1/3 of them are successful. And it's because they figure things out, they feel good about it, and they'll put pen to paper. So it's one of the reasons that I've become so involved in my business coaching. For you, if you want to talk to somebody about how to create a sustainable business that doesn't completely consume your life, go to yourcharlesalexander.com. Taking one-on-one clients right now in a very simple video messaging format sort of way. And for any of the rest of it, these are the 3 things that I know that you can overcome that will make your life a whole lot easier.